serve as my match reaction. So welcome along to the match reaction. We'll go ahead and get it started right out the rip. Go and smash up those likes. Subscribe if you're new. Of course, welcome to the channel. Thanks for being here, all that jazz. Of course, let me know what you're thinking in the comments. We were not at it today. Arsenal were not at it at all today. There was a complacency, maybe an arrogance, you might want to call it. In the fan base leading up to this, a lot of people are already saying, "Oh, Arsenal are through to this, and Arsenal are going to make it to that." And we're definitely going to make it to the semifinal. Definitely going to make it to the final. Arsenal are facing this person in the final. Arsenal are definitely going to make it to this or that. Not with that mentality. The way we approach that game is disgusting. I understand it. I get it. I understand that Arteta believes that we are going to win in England. I understand that he is thinking about this as a 180-minute game and that it's only halftime. I get it. But at some point, the game management, like his game management philosophy has not gotten us over the line. His game management of just keep him in front and make sure we're still in the tie when we go back home has not gotten us over the line in this competition. Now, maybe interestingly, Leverkusen didn't necessarily have a whole lot of the urgency that you would expect from the home side in the first leg of a Champions League tie, but like, we got to show more urgency than that. Like, I think they were, in the very beginning of the game, they came out and were at it and were pressing for like the first 5, 6, 7 minutes or whatever. And we played through them 2 times. And that kind of made them drop back a little bit, and they weren't pressing as high. And we were very complacent in the first half. We were very complacent. It was slow. It was methodical. There was far too much where far too many times we played through the lines and won some space into the middle and then didn't go forward and then just passed it back. Last minute pin. That's right, Kieran. The ref had a shocker. The refereeing team was from Turkey, and they showed it. They had an absolute and utter shocker, man. The ref. But it was any different than the refereeing in the rest of the games. It was very touchy. He called a lot of stuff that maybe the Premier League lets go. They were stopping a lot during the corner kicks and free kicks to tell man off or whatever. And but you can't say anything about the referee. You can't say any. Your referee, Kieran. The referee yesterday in the Barca game was definitely worse. He was definitely worse. That's not to say that our referee was great, but I'm not gonna say anything about the referee because that was a soft pin. Straight up, man. That was a very, very soft pin that we won. We are very fortunate, just as Barca are fortunate to get a pin after the 94th minute when you're only supposed to play 4 minutes of stoppage time. We were very fortunate to get that penalty, and I'll stand on that. That was a soft pin, and I'm a little bit surprised that we didn't that we actually got that. Unfortunately, Kieran, I have a work meeting in like 20 minutes, so I can't do watch-alongs for the next game, but I will have my eye on them. I think that Chelsea PSG game is going to be very, very fun. But yeah, I thought that the way we approached this game with our game management and just keep them in front of us philosophy nearly cost us today. It nearly cost us today because I would have been saying that Leverkusen were, maybe not at it as much as I would have expected for them to be. Yeah, I'm probably going to try to double stream, even though I'm in the meeting. Hopefully they won't know about that. But yeah, I'll have my eyes on it, of course. But I think that Leverkusen kind of fed off of our energy. They fed off the fact that we didn't really go for it. We didn't really try to put them under. And it was the fact that every time most of the time, we did a couple of times in that first half, play through the lines really, really well, got the ball down, and got in on goal. Martinelli should have scored, of course, and on that one move. But other than that, really, we didn't really make them work defensively. We didn't really put our foot to the pedal when we had space. We let them get back in their shape way too much. Like way too much, we let them get back into their shape by not playing quickly in transition, by not playing the 1-2 touch stuff, by taking too many touches. Martinelli in particular epitomizes the performance today because he was slow when he got the ball, Martinelli refused to take on Poku. The right wing back's name was Poku. Refused to take him on for 60 minutes. It took Martinelli an hour, a whole hour, to take his man on. And what happens? The guy gets booked immediately. First time Nelly takes on his man, the homie gets booked immediately. Why did we wait an hour? Why did we wait an hour to take on our man? Saka was not good today, but he shouldn't have come off. Saka was not at his best today. He did not want to take on his man either, even though when Leverkusen were set in their defense, they were leaving man 1v1 on Saka and on Martinelli, and they refused to take on their man. They just refused to take on their man. And so I was going to say, if we had not have gotten the pin, I was going to say that Arteta effed this one up completely. The mentality was wrong. The philosophy, in my opinion, was, it's a line we're trying to toe this line. And in the Champions League, I don't think that that's a line we should be towing. In the Champions League, I wanted to see us go full send and try to win this game, try to win the tie in this game. We could have. They were there for the taking today. They didn't want it. But we played for a draw to take it back to the Emirates. That's what Arteta did. He probably didn't come out and say that in the locker room, but the mentality and the ideas and everything that he put forth in the training up to this game definitely told the team that he was okay with a tie. He was okay with a draw in this one. That he believed if we went back to London, we would be just fine as long as we were not behind. That is the philosophy and what's shown on the pitch today. 100% what's shown on the pitch today. We were just too slow. And every time we didn't win a second ball, they looked dangerous. Now, also, they came out of the second half ready to go. We had our head up our ass. We did not come out of the locker room until for at least 20 minutes. For like 20 minutes, we didn't come out of the locker room. And Eze goes down really easy, doesn't keep up with his man. For some reason, Eze is marking the tall center back on the corner kick, and he just flops down like a dead fish, like a FIFA celebration. Hey, bro, they scored, not you. They scored, not Eze. It was Hendricks, whatever. He scored. Your man. Why are you flopping on the ground like a dead fish FIFA celebration? Makes no sense. And after Leverkusen scored, they quit playing. They just said, we'll hold on to this. But Arsenal also didn't up the urgency, didn't up the passion. It took until we realized, oh shit, we might actually lose this game. I think Arteta got it. I think Arteta's biggest thing today for me was not taking Martinelli off. He's so got it in his head that no one else can play left wing. Only Trossard and Martinelli can play left wing. And we didn't have Trossard. So guess what? Martinelli goes 90. Even though he was shit. Even though he was awful today. That is one of Martinelli's worst games that I've seen him play. And he's been at his best in the Champions League. Why, oh, why did it take you an hour to take on your man? And so I was going to dunk it on Arteta because he got a lot of things wrong. I think the philosophy and the game management tactics were wrong. I think we should have come with more verve, more passion, more energy, more press. We should have pressed them way higher. But it seems like every time any team shows the ability early in a game to play through our press that we back off 10 yards. And we don't press as high as often. That was the order of the day. And we didn't do that. From minute 30 to minute like 65, we were sloppy as shit. We were really, really sloppy. I just don't get why in big games when we're losing, when we need something, we need a spark, Arteta insists on taking the captain of the team off. Why, oh why does he insist on taking our captain off when we're in a bad way, when we need a spark? Oh, that's right. Because he doesn't think that Madueke or Max Dowman or Bukayo Saka or anybody can play left wing. Or you mean to tell me of the 30 guys, of the flipping 23 guys that we are allowed to have on the bench, you're telling me one guy can play left wing? You're telling me you brought one dude to Germany who can play left wing? That's what you're telling me. That's what Arteta's telling me. Bullshit. Bullshit. Why, when Martinelli and Saka are both having a poor game, Martinelli was worse than Saka, by the way. Why, when they're both having a poor game, do you take Saka, our captain, the better player, you take him off instead of Martinelli just because you don't have another left winger? That's pathetic. That's pathetic from Arteta. It's a very, very poor decision, especially when Martinelli was having a generational stinker, afraid to take on his man. And maybe that was the thinking. Maybe that was the thinking because Saka's refusing to take on his man. Madueke will definitely take on his man. Maybe that's the thinking. And I was going to dunk it on Arteta because that's the only decision that's going to look good on him. That's the only decision that he made today that's going to look good in retrospect, in hindsight. That's the only decision. The only one. Because look what happens when you take your man on. Look what happens when you take your man on. What a winger should be doing. Look what happens when you have some urgency to go to the byline, to beat your man to the byline, to go for goal. Look what happens. Good things happen. As soon as Nelly, at the end, was taking on his man and getting crosses in, we started looking dangerous. Madueke started taking on his man, wins a pin. Well done, Kai Havertz steps up, sinks the pin. But I don't ever want to see that progression of substitutions again. We're losing a game, we need a spark, and you take off our best three players. You take off the three best players, most capable of scoring goals, while we're losing. Poor from Arteta today. Absolutely, unequivocally poor from Mikel Arteta today. The one saving grace is bringing on Madueke. Ironically enough, terrible decision in my opinion, but it paid off for him. Awful decision in my opinion, but it's paid off for him. Madueke's gone and dived and got the pin. Soft pin, man. Very soft pin. Madueke kicks the back of Grimaldo. And yes, it's a clumsy challenge. Grimaldo doesn't get close to the ball, but he also doesn't really kick Madueke. Madueke kicks to him and then falls over. It's a very, very soft penalty. Very, very soft penalty that I'm more than grateful that we got. But That's a very lackluster performance. It's a very lackluster performance in a game where we needed to smash them. Now there's jeopardy. Now they have hope. Now there's jeopardy going back to England. And it's a must-win, have-to-have-it game before the final now. It's going to have to be balls to the wall, win the game right before the Carabao Cup final. That's what we've done to ourselves. We could have smashed them today. They were there for the taking today. We didn't want it. We didn't want it. They were there for the taking. We could have smashed them. We didn't want it. We absolutely could have wrecked them. We didn't want it. That's straight up what it was. The message in the locker room was obviously, don't lose. Get back to England with a draw. That was the message. And job done, I guess. Job done, I guess. But I really didn't like that approach. I didn't like the lack of urgency. I didn't like the fact that we gave them too much respect, honestly. Bayern went away to Atalanta and destroyed them, massacred them, wrecked them. And Leverkusen are better than Atalanta, sure. But they stamped their authority. They said, we're coming for this Champions League. What did we do? We said, we'll get through this. We said, we'll get through this. That's what Arteta decided. To just get through it, and we'll worry about it on Wednesday. But the problem with that is that we have the biggest game in 6 years. 4 days later. So if there was going to be a time to send it, it was today. We did not do that. We didn't do it. We did not do that. I thought that some of the sloppy passing was unacceptable from 30 minutes to about 65 minutes, 70 minutes, even 80 minutes, really. Even from the 30th minute to like the 80th minute, we were super sloppy. There was not enough urgency, not enough passion, verve, fight. We had our head up our ass, really, is what it was. We had our head in our ass for about 50 minutes of that, for about half of that game. And the fact that we got lucky, we got away with one is what it is. It's really what it is. We got away with it in the end because they weren't at it, because they were not very good going forward. It's kind of the same story with Brighton. Kind of the same story against Brighton. We were not at our best, but Brighton were very poor in front of goal. And so today we didn't really go for it. We didn't really give it, everything we got. And Leverkusen were kind of poor in front of goal. And so they didn't fashion too many crazy chances, but neither did we. Neither did we. And while I will accept that that is what Arteta wanted, I don't have to be happy with the approach. I'm not happy with that approach to the game. I'm not happy that the substitutions were, man, you're taking off our best players when we need a goal. And I get it. Arteta has more faith and trust in Madueke than perhaps I do. And so he thought and was correct. And that's his only saving grace today, is that Madueke ended up diving and getting a penalty. Which I'm shocked didn't get overturned. So we got away with one. And we'll take it back to London. It's irksome. It's irksome that we didn't try to smash them, which I think we are and were and should be more than capable of. But we didn't approach the game that way. We approached it with the same old game management. We'll just manage to edge it and get it over the line kind of mentality, and it showed. And once Leverkusen saw that that's how we were approaching the game, they said at halftime, hey, come out and come at them. Go at them at halftime. Punch them in the mouth. And that's what happened. That's what happened. And it took us the whole half to recover. Because it took us, we never got going in the first half, so it took us so long to get going. Yeah, not good enough. Not good enough but acceptable. Not good enough, but acceptable. And it's like I've been saying all season long. This one was up here today. I think that Arteta has maybe not put enough emphasis on this one today, and I think that's on him. The substitutions weren't great, weren't what I wanted to see. He took Saka instead of Nelly when Nelly was worse, so I think that I don't know, man. I don't know. This one's just leaving me feeling a little bit meh. I'll accept the philosophy and the idea and the approach just because we're going back to London. But it's not. I don't really like that. That's how we're doing it. But as far as how Arteta wanted to play and how Arteta wanted to do things, I mean, it's job done. That's absolutely job done. And we'll take it back to London and and hopefully have much better, much improved performance there. So that'll do it for the watch along. That'll do it for the match reaction. Go ahead and smash up your likes, the like button on the way out. Of course, subscribe to the channel if you are new. It would be an honor, a pleasure, a privilege even to welcome you to the community. Make sure you got the notification bell on because we will be back after the next set of games with the Cup Chasers podcast tonight, of course, with my man Nez and Asif. So make sure you got that notification bell on, locked in. And of course, I want to know what you're thinking in those comments section down below. It's been my pleasure today. I hope you've had a good one because I know I have, and you will see me next time.